All right, we'll start with public comments. Tony Miller.
Give me a second, I want to put my phone on silent.
Just for reference to make an announcement, we do not have a quorum this evening. We only have 2 supervisors. But since this is a workshop, no decisions are going to be made. We'll go ahead and proceed forward, give the presentation.
Yeah, you just can't take any action, right?
Yep. Just one announcement so it's for record.
Okay. I have to apologize if I say something that's already in this new version, because I took the version off this morning off the website that doesn't match what I just got over here. So some things might be, but my main question under public comment, I have some during the course of this, but I just I didn't think we got answered properly last month's workshop about where the comprehensive plan was in the budget when Dave asked that. And I see that you have now say that you're putting $80,000 under zoning and planning, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it was not, the first time around, it was not in there.
Yeah. So, but
until we figured out where those unassigned funds went.
Yeah, so if you help me out, I had a couple of minutes to look at it. I saw the $9,000 contingency, but I don't have any of these pages earmarked. What page is it, Aaron, for the zoning?
The zoning would be...
Must be back here. Okay, yeah, we just got there. So I see the $9,000 at the bottom there for the contingency. Where is the rest of that money you mentioned here at the beginning of this budget, like consulting services for 60 grand, and you say you're putting $80,000 into planning zoning accounts?
Contracted services went to 63,450.
Okay, so that's right, and that was what was in there this morning when I printed it out.
Correct.
So okay, all right, and I'll just ask some questions maybe as we go through the budget, but that was my main comment for. I'm sorry. I had one other thing. The resolution that you had to do the comprehensive plan, you said you were going to get grants, but I don't see the grants listed anywhere. You list grants everywhere through here, but I didn't see
Because
that.
we haven't applied for it yet.
Oh, okay.
So until we apply, then I wasn't going to, yeah, they aren't available until the beginning of the year to apply for that grant, and since...
Okay. Sorry for the interruption.
Good evening, Jane Harmon. Speaking of comprehensive plan, I just want to know, have the applications been received? Has it been closed? And where are we at with that? Are we picking a committee right now, or are we going to wait to the new year to pick a committee?
I believe there's only 9 applicants, and that's how many seats we have currently.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's
The
it.
2 business owners and whichever the plan was going to be, that's...
Wendy, did we send the board all the applicants?
I believe that. Yeah, we got one. I got one.
Yeah. So discussion will most likely be on the November.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to elect anyone yet, but we may have discussion about it.
Okay. And my question to you is this: if it comes back in and you look at them and you know what we need, this is a huge committee. It can't be a friend of a friend just because to serve in this. It needs to be someone dedicated to this, to look forward to You agree? Okay, so if we need to be, if you look at them and it's not to that up to par what we think we need, could we reopen that? Because we didn't even apply for it yet. Could we reopen and try to accept some more applications to get? I just know that somebody did come up to me at the polls that did. The gentleman that was here for. He came to our park and rec meeting. Ryan, his name was. Yeah, he told me that he did apply, and he said he hadn't heard anything back. So I was like, I don't know where we're at with that, Ryan. I will check. I haven't seen his resume myself, but I'm just thinking like we need good candidates. Right. Okay, all right. Just want to rehome on that, but okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Not a lot of people here.
All right, not even on. At this point, I'm going to turn the agenda over to Aaron and Jane to continue to review what they have proposed.
Okay, thank you. I'll start out. Basically, my goal is to go over some of the key changes from the last time we were here. And then after I discuss that, then what we can do is I'll go through each page line by line. If someone wants to discuss a certain line item, please let me know where we're at, and I can stop and we can discuss that. I did want to make note that the website that we published the budget on, I believe it was Friday, there were some clerical errors in there. That is not what I'm presenting tonight to the public. If someone wants to log online to our township website, we have just this evening uploaded this presentation that is being presented.
Did we get the website fixed, by the way?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I had lots of people asking me what's going on. All right, thank you.
Yeah, the renewal went to a
Okay, thank you.
email that we no longer have.
So, just so I'm clear,
Yes, sir.
what you have tonight, what you just put up is the latest revision?
Correct. Yes, as of today, and the one that's on the front page of our website that will say revision of today's date is what we have here. All right, since the last time we were here, there was an adjustment again to the health care. They originally came with a rate increase of around 9.7% from last year. They didn't factor in our deductible change, so it went back, and now it came back as only a 5.4% increase from what we originally thought was going to be at 9.7, which should help us about $51,000 savings. That's divided up between the different departments of the township. We had to increase IT by $3,000. That's an extra security feature that they suggested to us last year, and we're going to be implementing for this year for protection. And postage meter, that went from 163 to 350 per quarter. That's not guaranteed. We're still in discussions, or going to be in discussions with them, whether it's a sales thing or that's truly exactly what we need. Yeah. Okay. I did, what's that? Oh,
Them turning on. I said that is, and not, that lease isn't up until June of '26, but they're already out there trying to lock in prices. In addition, we have numerous other vendors calling us. The problem with this is a postage meter that we have is end of life. It is completely end of life and will no longer be serviced. So that's the.
They're certified to a certain standard from what I'm getting, and now that postage meter is no longer supported. I guess because it's, you know.
Software.
4 years old.
Yeah, we know.
I'm looking into it. We haven't signed anything yet.
Supposed we need a new postage meter?
So we can't outright buy a postage meter. They gotta be leased, and they only can be leased by certain area companies. So, I mean, it works fine, but they're saying it no longer qualifies to a certain standard.
Every time you turn the postage meter on too now, when you turn it on and you try to do something, get reports or something like that, you have to be getting an update. It's constant updates. It's my understanding those updates will no longer come through.
Yeah.
So they update the postage, they update zip codes and things like that when you're doing the postage meter. So we're not necessarily sure what that means. We've been trying to get from the rep.
If you have to buy a new one, do they do a buyback of your old
It's
They don't
leased.
buy it, lease it.
You can't
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah, we're looking at 2 different suppliers, 3 different suppliers. But I was truly shocked how much we do use that postage meter when I pulled the report. That was amazing. Okay, so comprehensive plan we spoke about just a few minutes ago. Tony brought that up. So this was not in the first version of the budget draft that we presented last month, only because it was sort of discussed for this current year's budget that the unassigned funds could have covered some of that. So until Jay and I sat down and really broke down the unassigned funds and realized that we're gonna, make sure stuff gets assigned, we finally had a chance to break it down. I budgeted 80,000 for the comprehensive plan for this year. I know originally we talked it could be upwards of 100. Even if it does go that high, I do not foresee us getting it completed in this year anyways. So, if it runs into next year and we got to budget a little bit more, we can do so. And honestly, until we do an RFP and start looking for services, I don't know what the true cost is going to be of doing it. We can get an idea, but until we start soliciting, I'm not sure. And until we get a steering committee to give us some direction of how they want to head and what type of consulting service they want and how much consulting services they want, it's hard to come up with an exact cost on that. So I have it broken down, consulting services, 60,000, engineering, GIS for the mapping, 5,000, public outreach for surveys, flyers, advertising, 2,500, materials, for whatever we need to print on, what have you, 3,500, and a buffer for things I'm just not aware of what it will cost, for 9,000. We increased wages for planning and zoning by 2,000. Donna does take some extra meetings here for the planning. We didn't, I think, account for all that, as well as some classes which they get paid for. Highway, we took out the $100,000 for a street sweeper and moved it to the proposed capital reserve account. Liquid fuels, we increased contracted services for a light repair for $62,000. It's the light pole that was hit down by 83 here in Space Highway. We did receive the insurance check already. We got that a lot quicker, but they will not get to the pole until sometime next year.
And we updated the beginning balance on the 26 budget to reflect that we had the money in the bank account. So we did do that from the last one.
Insurance amount was 62,000 too?
Correct.
It's 61,000. They have to hold $1,000 deductible until we see if we get any. They're going to take it out to their subrogated to the woman that, well, she actually passed away, to the woman that insurance company.
Wow.
And so we're hopefully getting the whole amount back. It's a 6-month lead time. It's a 6-month lead time, Scott will tell you, just to get the poll, so.
Good that it didn't get knocked over.
So we created a new account in recreation for park equipment purchases, examples, tables, upgrade lighting, concession stand equipment, benches, signage, items of that nature. Currently, we really haven't set any money aside for picnic tables, what have you. A lot of picnic tables are just beyond useful life. The ones down at Dolan that had the metal legs, I was going to talk to Scott. Maybe downtime over the winter, his guys can put some new boards on it. But the picnic tables at Shelley, some are just beyond repair. We really need to look at purchasing some new ones, make some that are handicap accessible as well. the park could use some benches. I know I spoke with Parks and Rec, some of the people that, maybe they can do something where they can get sponsors. Someone may want to purchase a bench. Maybe we can chip in for partial, have a plaque on it, their name, what have you. But I think that we should have at least a little money set aside that we can do these things and have money to do so. Special events, that is something we're gonna have to discuss later on here in the meeting. And Jane, can you explain that, how you have that mapped out now, the income?
The special events mapping is now, hits the exact detail tab that they had. Well, it did map to the general fund correctly, so it maps there now. That's in Excel.
Okay, sewer, fund adjustments. So the operator, retirement moved to the retirement, or we moved it from retirement reserve to the laborer. Jane, was that correct?
Yes, it was
The
in there
labor?
for the, it was in there for the last meeting, yeah.
We moved the, what was it, plant operator wages
Yeah.
out of labor wages to, now we have a designated plant operator wage line item. So we took the wages from labor and moved it to a designated operator account. And the UV upgrade, we're gonna pay only $75,000 this year, just gets put off until we get the DEP final approval, and not the $385,000 as we initially thought. So these are some discussions the board's gonna have to decide upon for the final budget. Fireman's relief.
It's not, that's
that
actually fireman's,
it didn't-
it's
you can't-
donation,
Yeah, donation.
fire tax account,
Thought that got changed.
yeah.
Yeah, fire donation. Previously, we've given Newberry 40,000, Goldsboro 15, York Haven 20. It's gonna be up to the board to make a decision this year if they want to stick with those same amounts, if they will make an adjustment, either higher or lower, but that's something that still needs to decide upon.
Aaron, that could also go for the fireman's relief also, because we just have that divided 50, 25, 25, as a
Correct.
pass-through money. So if they'd like to change that, that also needs to be decided,
Okay.
okay?
Also would like some guidance. It was discussed, I believe, at the end of last year, maybe the beginning of this year, to have a resolution, because we originally did not include volunteers for the volunteer fire tax credit. If the board would like to proceed to move forward, that allows for the volunteers, I can have a resolution for the next meeting to allow it.
They're called social members.
This-
I thought we did that for the tax relief.
No, the amendment, it was never done.
Never,
Okay,
It wasn't done.
we didn't vote on it?
yeah, yeah, we never finalized.
So it has to be done, like,
Yeah.
next meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Then I can go ahead. Contributions, typically, we've been giving 15 to library, senior citizens 16, New Hope 12, and other 1,000. So I've reached out to each one of the senior centers and also New Hope, trying to get some numbers as to, how much they serve within our township, to make, I think, make it fair for you, for the board to make a decision. We did hear back just today from New Hope, and we also heard back from Northeastern Senior Center. Still waiting to hear back from Redland. I have forwarded the board the information they've given us that details, who they serve, how many people they serve. For an example, New Hope for area code 17319, which is the majority of Newberry Township. They service 555 individuals from July 2024 until June 2025. They help with food, they help with housing, they help with transportation, they help get people jobs, but just to give you an idea, that's how many people.
It's funny they gave it to us as individuals and not families, so they really service it as a per person.
Correct.
Okay.
Northeastern, for example, Senior Center, we'll go to, they were busy in 23, 24 coming off COVID, but 24 to 25, I would say on average, they're delivering approximately 125 meals a month to Newberry Township residents, which is actually pretty impressive that they come out and home deliver those meals to everyone.
I agree. Yeah.
So this is another item which I was hoping to get some direction from the board. If you want to keep the numbers the same, you want to divide them up different, or if you just want to do contributions as a whole and not spell out who exactly they go to, and then during the year, throughout the year, we can do a resolution, and the board can decide how much they want to give to each entity.
At what,
You know, we set a certain amount aside, and we can do it that way.
at what point is that other 1,000 factored in? Is that
That
as
goes to
needed?
the Pee Wee football.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Miller, is it Pee Wee football or something?
Red Dam,
1,000.
The midget football camp.
Midget, yeah.
Red Dam football camp for 500 in the Memorial Day parade on insurance we pay.
Oh, yeah, 5,000, yeah.
About 500 each.
What's the breakup of the senior centers? There's two. What's the breakup? You have 16,000.
It was,
4,000 to Northeastern Senior Center and 12,000 to Redland.
It used to be 25,000 back in the day.
Yeah.
any feedback? Do you guys want to sort of keep it the same? Do you want to, were you thinking to lump it together and then there can be a decision made throughout the course of the year?
And last year, the library
Library,
contribution was put on hold, completely on
And I was
hold.
gonna say the same, I was still
Yeah.
put it on hold for right now.
It was completely put on hold until they had an air conditioning problem, and then
Exactly,
somebody
because our
was
money otherwise
petitioned to
goes
get
down
that
to York
done.
County, it doesn't stay local. So I'd say do the same
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
I mean,
Pardon me?
no, they did get a
They
disbursement.
needed a
yeah.
new AC.
My suggestion would be just put all that money under contributions as a single category, and the board can decide as the year goes how they want to allocate it by resolution and vote. Where it's not tied technically to libraries, and if we decide that we don't want to give it to the libraries, but you want to give some more to another senior center, that opens up by doing so by just keeping it under contributions. We're not labeling it to a specific area.
Give us more flexibility based on need.
I don't have a problem with that, Aaron.
That's actually wisdom.
No. Anyone else on that? Move on. Special events funding. In 2025, we budgeted $3,000 as a transfer from the general fund to the special events to assist them in doing events for within our community. The board's gonna have to make a recommendation for 2026 of how much, if any, that will get moved. Do you have anything you wanna discuss now on that, Diane? Do you have any suggestions?
Well, we are gonna finalize at our next events meeting, what our calendar looks like for next year. Do I have the budget numbers in front of me? I believe what was submitted was 18,000. And we were going to generate a revenue at this point of 10,000, which will leave a difference of 8, if I understand that correctly. Jane, am I correct on that?
That's what was submitted to me,
Yeah.
yes.
So we're looking for 8,000 for this year. And then we already do have some sponsors coming in.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So, what you have on the budget for this is 10,000, just to clean it up, what you have under, Jane, what you have under special events budget, 387.100,
Yes,
the description doesn't seem right.
I know, well, it contribution to public business and then national night out, and I think it extends to special events then.
You have it right over on somewhere
Yeah.
else in the budget. You have two different lines.
387 is contributions from
Yeah.
the public, so this is .100 for special events. So,
387000, I believe, is
National night out.
that's national. That's what
Yeah.
this one is. Yeah. So it's just housekeeping. But
Yeah, I'll do that.
so the only thing shown here for revenue is $10,200, right? So is that so? It's just contributions. That's you're going to raise that much money in contributions.
We have some already. We probably have about 4,000 coming in the first of the year. So, yeah, we are working on getting revenue in.
I mean, obviously, I'm on the committee. It says the beginning of balance in January is just under 5,000. So, I mean, we got some contributions in this year,
We haven't
which apparently carrying over. And
We haven't spent.
yeah. So, but there's no there's no revenue line items for, like, I think there should be one for sales. You get revenue for brick sales, and you get revenue from booth fees and concession sales, and you have food truck commissions, just to name
Yeah.
a few. So, I mean,
We can increase the line items. If
Yeah.
that's what-
Tony, can I just jump in here a minute? Just real quick.
yeah,
This spreadsheet that you're looking at that has this on here is really just an ancillary spreadsheet to the general fund. So the way the general fund is, as many line items that you had, I hated to have 387, 100, like concessions, 387, 200, music in the park.
so they're in this. There's
Correct. I do a separate Excel spreadsheet separately for the events committee
Okay.
that lists them by category. So we're not muddying, if that's the right word, the general fund profit and loss statement.
great. That's great. Except this is muddy because it says contributions. So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It says contributions.
I'll just change
That's
it.
all I think it is.
I'll just change it to contributions
Yeah.
/ special events income.
Correct. Sure.
Yeah, I'll just change that heading. But I just
Okay.
wanted to tell you that the special events amount that was given to me list is a detail of
Okay.
how they want to bring in their income and how they want to spend the expenses.
Okay. So, I had another question because the whole amount, you say it's mapped to general fund, but if you go to the administrative budget, the admin budget for the township, I mean, there's a line item on there for the whole amount of $18,018. How
Correct.
does that work?
Correct. Well, special events falls under
Admin?
Admin. It has always fallen under admin since we started it. And then it moved to recreation, and then it came back to admin again. As National Night Out falls for police,
Okay.
so it's just put in there. And then,
So, all right, so it's just confusing to me,
Yeah.
that's all. All right, thanks.
Well, in that 387,100 in the revenues, you have it contributions, public business, national night out. Is that national night outs for 10,200?
no, I'm gonna be changing that. That's gonna be a housekeeping thing. It's just gonna say special events, okay? It's because it's contributions, it's everything for, special events. If you want to expand the profit and loss of the general fund, which is already, how many, 16 pages long, it's, this way it's just one line item. It is easily done by Excel. I do this by Excel. I break it out and give it to the committee continuously of how much money they bring in for music in the park, how much they spend for music in the park. So all that is done. It's done monthly for them and given to them for their meetings.
And we're starting.
What I'll try to do is I'll make a note for November's meeting that for supporting docs, I'll try to upload the more detailed Excel sheet.
Yeah, the detailed Excel sheet tells like everything on it. And, everybody
I'll upload that
can get
with
that.
the budget, but it's not technically part of the budget since it's.
It's kind of just, it would be
But-
like breaking out like Scott's, like highway repairs, we don't break it out by streets and culverts and, everything else, it's just highway repairs, no matter what we're spending on, it's like a $300,000 line item. Yeah, so to break out 18,200 among 9 line items would just be,
Seems like it went from $3,000 to $18,000 is.
that was a problem with the last budget. That was where the original one was 3,000 until they got the numbers to me. The day of the budget last meeting, October 15th, that's when they got the numbers to me, and I forgot to map it from it's Excel. I forgot to map it back to that spreadsheet, because I created the spreadsheet then. Until that time, I really wasn't gonna do one because it was so small. And then I forgot to do a map from that spreadsheet back to the general fund. So that was last time, and I fixed it this time for this meeting.
So my question is, if we don't get the donations, then where does that money come that they projected that they're gonna need to spend? Where's it coming from?
We can always cancel.
Cancel an event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and special events too, within which,
We have some money spent in for the concession stand. We don't have to buy that equipment this year.
we also have in, Sue, Ostrander's the one that gave me the sheet. She also has in there, like, booth space. We charge, like, booth space if they have, like, the May Festival, they brought in money for booth space. Unfortunately, it was canceled, but, they bring in money for booth space, $15, $20 for a booth space. So that would all be lumped into your 10,200. And of course, when they get their monthly Excel spreadsheet for their meeting, it will have on even who the booth space requester was. You know what I mean? So it would say like Jane Harmon, $20. I think it even tells you what you're doing at your booth space. I try to type in as much detail as possible.
And for next year, for every event, we're going to have a separate spreadsheet of what the event cost is and any profits. So every event will have a spreadsheet on its own. So we can track. I mean, we're new at this. So all that should be tracked, and we will have a better idea next year.
The whole amount's already budgeted under admin.
Can you,
The $18,000 already budgeted as an expense.
Correct.
No, that's.
under general fund
projection,
for
isn't it?
admin, based on what they have provided to us.
So it's there, the event won't get canceled because it's already budgeted for 18,000.
Well, if
No,
it's approved,
that's- So you're pulling that out of the general fund
we are,
and moving it over, okay.
yeah. With a revenue coming out of 10, so it's a,
Right now, there's a
Need
shortfall of
8.
8. Yeah, so that's
need a-
that's a
need 8.
decision that needs to be made.
yeah.
Okay. Next, retirement reserve. As of now, we know of one retiree. So we're looking to move 31,000, so we can maintain that $150,000 account in there. It may leave us a little bit more than 150,000 after we pay it out, but we're trying not to get that to drop just in case we get a heavy year of retirements or people leaving and we got a big payout. Okay, now we can go line by line. If anyone has any questions, we're gonna start with the ACMB fire tax. That's where we discuss contributions. Did anyone have any comment on that? That was the,
contracted services is worth a lot, so what caused that? That's 411-2450, contract services was $750, now it's $750. For the fire, what's all the contracted services?
Steve, that is what happened is, this past year, while it wasn't in the budget, because we weren't, there's a first due software. The chief could explain it better than what I can. That was the software that got voted on at the meeting that was not in the budget. So it's in for 25 as an expense without a budget line item.
So the first due software is the software that does multiple things, and we discussed it at a public meeting. This one of the things that was Community Connect, where the community could go in and put their information in, so the fire departments knew if there was any flammables or who's in the house, cats, whatever. It also allows the lieutenant and I the ability to do scheduling and payroll. That's all in that software. It provides notifications to the fire departments when they receive an emergency call. There's multiple modules that are within that software. We have spoken to the fire chiefs at our last fire meeting, and they're supposed to get back to us at our next meeting, which is typically the hour before the Board of Supervisors meeting, asking them if there's any modules that they don't use And if they don't use them, then we plan on dropping them. But until they get us that information, I can't adjust. Yes. Yeah, it's not, yeah.
So I just have a quick question, Jane, with paid drivers. So you budgeted 80,000 for last year, and for this year it's only 48.
Well, I know the reason for that. I can jump in. Do you mind I jump in on that one? Last year, we weren't sure exactly the path we were going to be taking. We knew we were going to have paid drivers. We knew what the total cost of the paid driver was going to be, but by wages, Medicare, Social Security tax, unemployment tax, workers' comp. Okay, so now this year, because we have a history and we know exactly what we were, what we're doing, they're broken down now by those line items. So last year was just an $80,000 placeholder because I think we were still on the fence if the program was going to get legs and we were going to hire them.
How many do we currently have?
8, 10?
6.
I think we lost 2.
I'm going to give you an approximate number. As of next week, we have 2 more coming on, which I believe will bring us to 10. We had 2 that had resigned. We took some extra shifts, different opportunities at their full-time jobs. So I believe we had 9 or 10 at that point. 2 left. We're bringing 2 on, so we'll be back up to 9 or 10. We're optimistic and hopeful at some point we can be 12 because it is tough finding individuals to work those shifts. A lot of times they get held over at their full-time jobs, and they had already signed up to do the part-time job, in which we have to try to find coverage for 2 or 3 hours, or they have last-minute things that happen at their full-time job, and they let us know the night before, and then we're scrambling for people to do it. So the ultimate line item doesn't change whether we have 10, 12, 15 people. It just gives us more opportunity to make sure that those slots are filled so that we have a paid driver to respond to emergencies.
Okay. Liquid fuels, we just discussed that earlier. It was a $64-some thousand change, and that was due to the light pole being replaced. Any questions? Okay.
10.
10.
I only have one question, so I'm looking at the salt anti-skid, 75,000 last year, 125 for this year.
Yeah, Scott, how much more did you need? Because we went through a lot last year, which
Yeah, we
depleted our inventory.
Yeah.
Even though the snows weren't that heavy, they were nuisance, required a lot of anti-skid. And you ordered that through Capcom?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I think we really need almost 300 ton right now just to fill the salt shed back up for this year. And we went through, I don't wanna say, nah, it's an educated guess, but it's almost 1,200 ton we went through last year. That was way more than what we've used the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of brine last year too, so.
Yeah.
And that really helps, but that's a ton of salt does the whole township. Now maybe 4 ton of salt does the whole township. I'm just curious,
But that brining does, I mean, I think we had some of the best roads in the area.
Yeah,
I mean, our
yeah.
township compared to everyone else.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah, they'll be approved the next meeting.
we make our own.
Oh,
because
the
of-
salt, yes.
Once we built this, we had the capability to make our own brine.
city water, yeah.
So, because that's saving us quite a bit.
Well, it's a lot more convenient.
Yeah.
Onondaga Township for 4 years gave us
Yeah.
the brine. I'd haul a load of salt once a year. They'd give us the brine, they wouldn't charge us for the water or nothing, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you had to haul it
Haul
all,
it.
we had all that time involved in it, so.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, Parks and Recs is next. Once again, not much changing here, other than changing the 4,000 to 20 for park improvements, minor equipment, which I explained earlier. That can be picnic tables, benches, upgraded lighting a little bit, signs,
And you took out the connectivity and everything.
Yes, and also the two grants were taken out, the connectivity and the matching for the Dolan Park, because that would be then moved under capital reserves. Any question?
What happens when they have a, like the 5K, when they have a fundraiser and they make a profit? What happens to that money?
I'll just go back into where, Jane?
Yeah, if there's a run and you collect money and it goes to recreation, it'll be deposited into recreation.
And they can use as they want?
Correct. They can use it then as they want. But we don't have anything budgeted in here for a 5K run. The biggest question that we have in here is the large amount of money that we have in here for Clover Crossing. And I don't think they've filed their, they've not filed their plan yet, correct?
Not yet.
Not yet. Southern Crossing, I'm sorry, I said Clover. I was just working with Clover Crossing just recently. Southern Crossing, and but I know that the people moved out of their house, so they'll be moving the dirt soon.
Question, when they come in with the original plans and you give them the cost analysis of what it's gonna cost, okay? And then they don't build for 3 years, and now they came in and we changed our rates. They pay our new rate, right, not the old rate?
I believe it's when the plans were submitted is the rate that they pay.
Can we look at that? Cause doesn't that just seem right? Like, you've been holding it for 4 years and we changed everything, and the prices should reflect that. Like, well, you didn't dig it that time, now you are, this is what it is.
Well, I think we split
That's what the intention is. Their original amount was 43,000 for recreation, I believe. It was in the 40s, and now it's up to like 100.
Yeah, I think we
like
spoke, I think we
87,000.
spoke
Yeah,
to
new
Bill
one.
about that, and he's gonna have in there that it's per unit.
Was per acre, it was per acre, it's now per unit, so, yes, no, you're correct, Jane, it has increased.
Cause that just seems like the fair way to do it.
It is, well, that's what we have planned, so,
All right.
Alright.
And the equipment, we did talk about that, that's for maybe a mower or something, is that what that is? 30,000?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that didn't change.
Okay, and when you go back to the race, we did not have that allocated. Is that something that they need to put in, like at least 1,000, 2,000 to get it started? Cause I mean, they're gonna be bringing money in, but then they're gonna have to put money out for, to buy the t-shirts prior and to buy the, to rent the equipment for it and all that. That's if it comes to fruition. I'm not positive it will. But, I mean, they spoke of it this year, and then it was postponed. So they did say they're going to do it for 2026 in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, we have some money on miscellaneous, some under advertising, but, you know, if they want some more, they'll have to say something at the next meeting, and we'll try to.
currently, the money in miscellaneous is slotted for the insurance. We pay
Okay, that's
for the
insurance.
insurance under miscellaneous for the parks. So I just wanted, if you wanna, Jane, do you have an idea how much they would spend?
I don't know, Steve, may I ask you, when you put your races on, do you know how much you had to put out? Cause you didn't have.
I was just trying to do that math in my head. It's been a long time, but I would say what, no, it's all right. I would say you're going to have to put out money for the t-shirts. You're going to have to put out money for the timer, right? You're going to have to put out money for your prizes, medals, prizes, or whatever. And you're going to have to put out money for your snacks, you know, like drinks,
Right.
power bars, granola bars, stuff like that. Other than that, I think that's the initial outlay. Other than if you're going to advertise for like flyers or stuff like that, which is minimal compared to the rest of the stuff. I believe that's your initial outlay that you'd have to put out there. And you figure if you get a T-shirt for $6, maybe. I don't know what a timer costs nowadays, but so if you take $6 times whatever you believe your race entries are going to be, and depending on the time of year, and if you schedule it, you look at the other races and you don't schedule it when other big races are that are already established, you should get more people. So let's say you get 200 people, so 6 times 200 for the T-shirts. And then your medals, depending on your categories, usually go male, female categories, 10 to 18 or, 18 to 24. Pick those categories. and then determine male, female prize for that, and then your snacks. That would be around about your initial outlay.
Would we have extra portable toilets based upon, and what
That
about?
could be another expense depending
What
where you're
about the
having
s-
it.
The safety feature, so if we have officers pulling extra shifts because you're closing off a road or what have you?
Well,
Would that
We could use
feed into
fire
that,
police.
or
We
would
could
that
use
stay
fire
under the police budget?
Well,
What is the registration?
the registration for 5K it usually covers the amount it usually covers your expenses. But I will tell you that most of the money that you make on the 5K are your sponsors. If you get good sponsors, the sponsors that you're actually, putting their name on the back of the T-shirt, that's where you're making your money. It was always a good fundraiser for our team organization. To answer your question is, depending on where the location is, not necessarily what it cost for police to extra duty, because you could potentially use fire police, right?
Oh, yeah.
Depending on the location.
They're putting it on the street, is what they're thinking.
But when you have it on the street, it depends on how many intersections need to be blocked off, right? If it's on the street and it needs 2 intersections blocked off, then you can most likely get at least 2 individuals from the fire police to cover those 2 intersections. But if it's a race that's going to encompass 10 or 15 intersections, well, it's very unlikely that we're going to get 10 or 15 fire police to cover those at that time. Then yes, we would have to try to schedule somebody to come in, because we don't have that many officers on at one time either.
Did anyone reach out to you regarding this yet?
No.
Okay. No, they don't. They have a meeting on Tuesday, so nothing's been done with it. So I want to budget something for them and say, just in case they want to do it, but I don't know with this committee of really coming forward with it.
Chief, safe to say a couple thousand.
Yeah.
I would say you would probably be safe if you would go in the 2,500 mark.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, if we're done, Parks and Recs, we'll move on. M&T Sewer, there were no changes here. Sewer, we,
I just got one question on them.
which one, Tony?
On the M&T sewer, the transfer from the MESB construction fund, just $1 under 100,000.
That was the generator.
Generator.
We had to move the generator from here to the sewer, but we have yet to receive the sewer yet to pay for the generator. That was for that grant. Because the grant needed a 3-bid process, but it didn't qualify for here, so we had to get it rescoped. We had it rescoped down to the sewer department, so at least that money can get used and not lost. Yeah, so we ordered it, it just hasn't come in yet, so that's the 99 sitting aside for that. All right. Do you have anything to add, Brent, to your sewer? Anyone else got a question on sewer?
Nope.
All right, move on. Hydrant fund, that stayed the same. I think we went over that pretty well last time. Anyone? Nope. Okay. Nope. National Night Out. It's pretty typical each year, how we figure in the numbers. Try to get majority of it for donations. Anyone have questions?
No?
I apologize. I couldn't get the numbers transposed onto this. When I printed it out, it printed okay and page numbered me, but up here I couldn't.
Okay, well, you just talked about, you can just tell me.
It should be page 20, actually.
Yeah.
I got it in front of me. If there's no questions, I'm gonna move on. Special events. We sort of just,
Already talked it, yeah.
okay. Retirement fund, we discussed that in the beginning as well. General fund. All right. So we're gonna be there we go. There we go, general fund. Page 24.
Okay. I appreciate you saving paper, but it's so confusing because some of them, they're upside down, so.
It was made to flip, they all should just flip right up.
No, when I do, look, here it is, and I turn it, it's upside down. So then I gotta, it's okay. I'm gonna get through it, but, all right, 24, got it.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on the first page of revenue coming in? Stayed the same as last time.
When you say the real estate tax current, and then it went up to 2,800, is that because of projection of new homes coming in, or what is that? Why is it up almost 300,000?
Last year, the tax increase was not budgeted in, so it's current for this year.
It's based off the
There is
millage.
no tax.
Okay, we did.
Yeah, we did it after the budget was done.
Okay, all right.
License and permits. Mobile home went up because of that fee schedule increased on them. We lost the junkyard, so that went down. Recycling grant stays about the same, public safety same. Any questions? Sorry, page 26.
Yeah, the public safety grant, that 77,777 has all offsets below. We don't necessarily get that amount in because we don't spend that amount. It's all based on volunteers, incentives for the fire departments.
Right.
Still on page 26.
All the money that comes in from that when we got the grants, and that's what allotted the $77,000.
Correct, and then we have the expense below. So if we don't spend the money, we don't get that much grant money. But that's how much we can get, let's just put it that way.
You get what you actually.
Yes, you can only get what you've earned. So it's $350,000 grant, I believe, over
I'm gonna do it 4 years.
4 years.
I believe so.
Yeah, 4 years.
Third year now?
We're going into the third year.
Okay, moving on to page 27.
That was their incentive stuff, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, I got a question on this one. I'm not using Mike, so.
26 or 27?
27,
Okay.
unless somebody has something on 26. So on the public safety fees, I believe that the 2025 budget number for special police services is incorrect. That's, actually, I have it on my other piece of paper. Change up on here. So, let me get the right page. Yeah, so, because when I looked at this, it looked like we were only getting a 1% increase in special police services, but it's supposed to be 2%. And so I went and looked up the police services agreement, and for 2025, with the 3% increase that we had with Goldsboro and York Haven, that number should be 165,270.04, not 166,875. And then that would make the 168,575 correct with a 2% increase for this year. So the number's wrong on the 2025, and I was like, why? Why is it only 1%? But while we're on the subject, we used to do the special police services every year, right? And we used to wait until we knew what the police budget was. Whatever it went up, if it went up 4%, we increased Goldsboro and York Haven 4%. It kind of made sense, right? So, but I understand what drove it, but the current board decided in 2024, December, to give them a 3-year contract. We're going to get 3% the first year, which would have been this year, and then 2% in 2026. And then there's an option, which I hope we don't use, for 2027 at 2%, because the police budget just went up 3.48%. And so we're not passing any of that, all of that along, that 3.5% to Goldsboro, York Haven, which goes back to what this has been happening since almost 10 years ago. We started to make that determination because we weren't charging them what it was costing us to do this service. And so we got it jacked up a little bit, and then we always just did whatever the police budget went up. They passed that along and increased it. So on paper, technically, it looks like the Newberry Township residents and taxpayers are footing the bill for the extra 1.5% increase in police services in our budget to Goldsboro and York Haven. Nothing you can do because you signed a contract with them, so might want to think about that one next time.
Tony, I also have in my notes here that the original budget was put in for 4%. It was going to be a 4% increase. They went through mid-December after the budget was done, and they
Okay.
decreased it to 3. So the budget was already done and adopted. It got decreased to
So
3.
that was the number was higher because it was supposed to be 4%, right?
That was the original proposed on the
Okay.
budget. I have my
All
my
right.
notes here, and it was in December.
Yeah.
Because I actually
All
went
right.
back and made myself a note why that was done
Sure.
like that.
Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
Thanks.
But back to what Tony said, it still makes sense to do it. I understand you want to give them a contract, but, if we give them a 3-year contract, then we're taking a loss in the next 2 years on that contract, because we didn't increase the rates to reflect what we're paying, what we got to increase. So maybe that should be considered when they give them another contract. And I know people don't like to do contracts, because I know when Rob was doing the police contract, he was like, well, they give a 5 because it's a pain in the butt to do it, nobody wants to do it. Well, you gotta consider that
Yeah,
when you do.
that contract was in place from last year. We're in the second year of that contract. So we have 1 more year to go.
Did we do 3 years because of like legal fees and that as a factor as to why we did 3 instead of 1?
I think it was,
If
it's
I
a
remember
2-year
correctly-
contract with an option of a third, and I don't know,
And I think they requested that.
I think, but I
believe
don't
so.
remember.
And it was
Don't
negotiated.
put me on
in
that. I think that was
December.
requested at the time.
No, they, Goldsboro claimed, and there was a big hullabaloo that they were gonna go get Fairview Township to do their police services, so everybody thought we had to jump up and knee jerk and put a contract out there for them, but, I don't know if I've ever seen what Fairview bid, for the police services, so we gave them a pretty good cherry deal.
Yeah, we'll mark it down to readjust next time around. Anything on page 27?
Nope.
Page 28? Page 29.
So we had back to 28, did we get ours, when it comes to our trash, did we get a contract, is that yearly or did we get a 2-year contract?
That was a,
Is it when we?
Mr. Miller, do you remember how many years we did with the trash? Was that 3 years, 4 years?
We had 3 years before,
Okay,
So we're good right now, it's not gonna go up.
correct.
It's a 3-year,
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
and then an option for, I think, a 4th.
If I recall last time, even when we went for the contract, that they were the only ones that,
I was gonna say, there's not that many out there willing to
Yeah.
do it any longer.
Only got
That's-
one responsible.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Really happy with them.
Yeah.
They do wonderful with my trash, but
There'll probably be a tipping fee increase again, right?
There is gonna be a fee, yeah, there's all kind of things about what they're gonna be increasing. And Jane, for revenue, we only get paid when they get paid. So if our residents don't pay, we don't get paid. Yeah, it's not a contract per se. I mean, it's a contract of how much they're gonna pay us, but we don't get paid until they get paid.
so how much of a revenue do you bring in on that about? Like, I pay directly to them, okay, and then they pay you a check for being able to do the service in our township, I'm assuming?
Correct. So the checks vary. It's not the same amount every quarter. They pay us quarterly, and it's not the same amount. I mean, one quarter we got like $7,000. And they're like, the bills were late going out, number one, and number two was people didn't pay us. It was the end of the year, you know. And then the following year, everybody got caught. In the following quarter, everybody got caught on. We got like 13,000, you know. So it varies.
All right, and where would that be coming in?
Quarterly trash, page 28 at the top, 364, 100.
Oh, income, got it.
Yeah.
3,000. Okay, all right.
yeah, I think I saw somewhere one time that Newberry Township was like their second slowest paying township, yeah.
Wow.
Don't put your trash out to the curb then, don't you?
Okay. Now we're on page 30. Starting expenses.
So there was nowhere to make a note for like when, Dave Parsons had mentioned, like for the manager's salary, and then another note, because as someone looked it up, it looks like it's,
Jane, I can make a note at the bottom, at page 31 at the end of at the end like I do for police.
okay, if you could do that
Yep.
to make it easier.
Yep. No, I'll put that on there.
Was that- Okay, no, I know what it is, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, nope, I'll make the note. Put it in there like we do for police, what their benefits are, and highway, what their benefits are.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on page 30? Page 31, which we discussed, contracted services went up. That was due to the website design. All right, everyone with me?
Yeah.
That's the one that has a special event for 18.
Okay. Page 32. That stayed pretty consistent to 2025.
What is? I didn't hear you.
Tax collector?
Oh,
Isn't she doing less?
No.
Isn't she doing less collection, and that's why she's getting less?
I don't know.
What, wasn't that discussed in a meeting last year? That Deb asked why she was getting something when something else changed?
You're right. What was that? Yes.
There was something that she no longer had to,
There was a new contract made this time. It's not for her. So,
yeah, it was.
yeah, there was
yeah,
definitely a
it was
new contract
beyond
done.
anyone's control, it just like it is.
So we have it by the number of bills that she sends out, according to what we get from the county, times her new fee.
Yeah,
Okay, is what we have.
Yep.
it was beyond our control. Yes.
Yeah.
Slide 33, page 33. Please. Chief, do you have anything to add?
I do not. I don't think anything changed since the last time.
That's correct.
You don't have anything in the budget for sign-on bonuses, grants or anything like that? You're not anticipating hiring anybody new for 26, and you have full complement of officers?
Well, I'm optimistic I'm going to get it up to 18th by the end of the year. 26 is budgeted for 18. All the sign-on bonuses that we've provided in the past have been grant funded, and those grants have run out. So we do have, I believe, maybe one sign-on bonus left for Sellers that is in the academy. Actually, two. Sellers that's in the academy, and for one additional one, because the officer that left had to pay back the grant-funded sign-on bonus. But no, I don't have anything listed for sign-on bonuses for next year because the grant is up at the end of the year. We have to use the sign-on bonuses from the grants by the end of the year. And I have not seen any grants come out for sign-on bonuses for next year. So.
Where are you with the officer complement? What's our total?
With Officer Sellers in the academy, we're at 16. Yeah, I have. We're currently doing a background on an individual right now, and more interviews in the next week or two to hopefully get us up to that 18.
At one point, we did have the 18. That's why I was kind of confused for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very competitive out there
Yeah.
with the departments.
Well, we raised our, on the contract, we gave them even more to bring that on, to be able to accommodate that.
We
There's
still
some
pay
heavy hitters out
considerably
there.
less than other comparable townships. Yeah.
Page 34.
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Take the mic. Hey, so this is a simple one. For capital outlay of vehicles, we had 40,000 last year, and you got the two vehicles and the 6-month lease, right? So did we end up paying all that already in this year?
No, sir.
We did not.
No.
Did we
Because
pay any of it?
What's that?
Do we have to pay any of it this year?
Yeah, we paid 1 quarter and 1 month, I believe, and then
Okay.
whatever
And a
that
down
payment
payment.
was.
No, you paid 40,000 this
And
year.
a down payment.
Yeah, and that's why I said whatever that quarterly payment was, subtracted off to 40,000, and we use that difference as the down payment towards the lease. So if the lease payment for this year was 15,000 because we got the last quarter for the two vehicles, then we put $35,000 down towards the first payment of the lease. So it lowered
Okay.
our lease payments throughout.
It was
the next 4
it's a
years.
6-month lease, so after 6 months, it has to be paid, right?
No, it was a 4-year lease. There was discussion about a 6-month lease.
Okay.
It was never
So
budgeted.
The last
as a
I
six-
knew, it was a 6-month lease. Yeah.
Yeah, there was discussion between the 4-year and the 6-month
Yeah.
lease, and it was left up to me and Jamal to have the discussion.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
We never had the discussion because Jamal was no longer
Oh,
here.
yeah. Right.
By the time that the vehicles came in.
Yeah.
So then it was
So
the
you went with 4 years.
so it was the new board that went with the 4 years. Yes.
Yeah, so on the 4th year, it's going to be more than $40,000. The last, I read them all. So a 4-year lease, it's 40, 40, 40, and then it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's more than 40,000 for the payout. But that's why I wanted to know.
With the down payment, I think the.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think there should have been a 40,000 in for this year. I thought you had 6 months and it was paid off. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't budgeted. Jamal left.
Yeah.
That
I brought it up.
part
at
of
the
the
meeting.
unassigned assigned deal.
Yeah, I know. I brought it up.
So the current board only did what was budgeted for this year.
Thanks.
Oh.
I've seen here equipment, there's nothing budgeted for equipment, but then you have the vest, but you did talk about the tasers, where would they be under?
They're under a
Weapons.
grant.
That equipment line item was nixed years and years ago. That particular 410 750 was like Nixt. Most of our equipment goes underneath 410 260. The tasers will go underneath weapons, which is 410 242. Because they're technically classified as a weapon now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on.
So
Yep,
both
we'll go
equipments,
back.
there's two different equipments. None of them are gonna be 410 374 and 410 750. There's no equipment. It's broken up into special, then there is a minor equipment.
They, Jane, they got rid of like utilizing those two line items the township did years ago. So the 374 and the 750, I don't believe I've used in definitely a long time. Everything goes underneath 410 260. Depending on the type of equipment, could fall underneath 410 220. You know, if it's like incendiary things like, I don't know. But that's where most of that stuff goes underneath.
So when you say the police grant vest, it's 1350. So you're saying that's a grant that we're gonna get? Or
No,
we're applying
that's
for?
that's the title that the township uses for the police vests. In the past, we used to get a grant that matched it 50%. So we'd spend the money for the vest, and then the federal government would give us 50% back. That grant has expired.
So then
Like,
it shouldn't say grant.
correct. That's
Police vest.
that's the line item that I put my money underneath. That's a spreadsheet thing.
All right, well, then that would be housekeeping to me. That would be, because it makes it look like that's a grant that we're getting for that amount.
I'm in the process of trying to grant the grant writers to find a police vest grant for us, but we do not have any right now.
And that should be taken out, so it's police vest. So what, why would that be not considered part of your, like your, I don't wanna say weapons, but something like your minor equipment? Like you have $15,000 for your minor equipment. What is that?
Minor equipment could be anything from, it's a catch-all, could be footwear, could be leather gear, flashlights, baton, medical supplies, body cameras, AED pads, pretty much any equipment that we potentially need to replace that has either been expired or has been deteriorated over wear.
I agree with Jane. It makes sense to me that they should be put together, because it is a bit ambiguous. If you look at it, it says grant. Obviously, the general
I'll
public
take,
or anybody
take
that's not
grants.
familiar with it would be led to believe that it would be a grant. So those two line items should probably merge. I don't have a problem with the amounts, but I just think as far as clarity, providing clarity, that they should be merged and put together as one lump sum.
Well, I mean, I'll do whatever the board wants. The vest line item fluctuates based upon the expiration of the vest. So, you know, in years past, the line item might have been like 2,500 or 1,000. Since we've had officers leave and been replaced, and this particular year we have to replace a fair amount of vests. So that's why it's fluctuated.
I mean, I completely understand. I'm not in opposition to that. I just think that, you know, because you are put in the category as far as minor equipment, flashlights,
Flares, tax strip.
boots, stuff like that, those are things that wear out as well. So why not just put, it's more or less just a maintenance issue as far as putting those two together instead of.
Well,
Like
it
I
was,
said, grant, when you see grant, would you not?
Jane, can we just
I could take the
rename
word-
that line item?
I could take the word grant out. It's just,
Yeah.
this.
We'll
spreadsheet-
take grant out only because if we can get a chance for grants later on, at least vests are in a separate category.
Yeah.
We can offset
Yeah.
it by that.
that's probably why it was in a separate category. Because we
Yeah, no, I mean,
did have
that's
the
no problem. We'll
availability
just
of grants
take grant off
matching.
We'll
the
ju-
line
I'll
item,
just
but
take-
still keep vests under vest.
Yeah, I just want to, you know, just be clear, I'm not in opposition.
No, that's, I understand where you're coming from, that's not a problem.
For somebody that's looking at this that doesn't know, they would assume, okay, well, there's a grant.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, because then if we do get a grant, then at least it's on its own line item.
Yeah,
We
Also,
can offset it easier.
yeah, yeah.
Also, Mario and Jane and Tony, Tony knows this, but it's surprising the number of grants that are asking, do you have separate line items identifying this in your profit and loss statement? So if they're out looking for a grant, it's better that we have something that says police vests.
Okay.
And we'll just change it to vests. I'll take the word grant out, okay?
I'm okay with that. It just.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just take the word vest, grant out.
May I ask about training? It went down. That's 410, 461, Steve.
Last year's training budget, we were anticipating putting individuals through the academy, and we didn't know the exact amount of what it was going to cost us. We had an idea what it was going to cost us, right? But we didn't know how many officers we were going to send through. I'm not anticipating, hopefully not sending any officers through the academy next year. So therefore, I have spoke to Aaron about that, and if in fact we do need to send somebody through the academy next year, he believes that the money that is allocated for the officer and the salary portion could potentially
Offset.
make up that difference for their training.
That would be smart.
I'm just taking guidance from the experts. So that's why the training budget went down. It's usually, it's never, if you
What
look
we
in
save
years'
in
history, I
salary-
don't think it's been
Yeah.
up that high before.
What we save in salary is more than what the actual cost of the academy is. So that's how we would offset it. Because we're figuring for patrolman salary. So when they get a discounted, lower rate salary being in an academy and the cost of the tuition on the academy, that's still less than what it is for a 1-year patrolman salary.
I have two more questions. Contracted services, is that for the building maintenance here, or what is the contracted services? Because that went up over 3,000 for that.
Contracted services underneath 410, 450 is for our MDC, our watch guard, our Hinton IT services, our Hinton software, the Cellbrite machine, Cody, our license plate readers, our fingerprint scanners, our scheduling and payroll software, our records management system, our website, the shredding, the copier, and Adobe. And there was an increase with Hinton, which is our IT service, which made that go up. Planet subscription, which is our payroll and scheduling software, increased a little bit. Power DMS, which is our accreditation software, policy management software, that increased. So the 4 categories underneath 410, 450 that went up is 2 of them underneath Hinton that I have broken down on my spreadsheet. Services, software, Planet, and Power DMS.
And one other thing, building maintenance, is that like you're getting contracted services, or is that cleaning fees? What is your building maintenance?
Cleaning fees, don't we have the generator under there?
Well, that would be for contracted services agreements that currently this building doesn't have. So one for the HVAC, we're currently I'm meeting with a guy at 6 a.m. for the sprinkler and fire alarm system, and I think I'm missing one. Generator. There's no preventative maintenance agreements with any of them or service agreements for the building. So when we ran into some issues that weren't necessarily covered, obviously we figured that out and need to get some type of service agreements.
Yeah.
You have the HVAC one, right?
Well, that takes in effect January 1st. That was at a meeting with AC Rimmer. Yeah. The generator one, I got 2 quotes, I believe, and then I will have 2 quotes for the fire system after tomorrow.
Well, I mean, the admin has.
That's the gentleman that I contacted.
Winter's generator. Yeah. And then they have to do a test on the water lines because of the sprinkler system in here. So we needed a contract for that as well.
When you say your computer hardware, software, that went up significantly too. Is it a new
What line's that?
Oh, that's an ongoing thing.
410-270?
That would be for the $20,000 for the new server that Hinton is saying that we need to replace.
The server costs $20,000?
That's what they told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It changes the air filter.
When you got the building, did you get a new server at that point?
When we got a what?
When you got this building?
Oh, I thought.
No, we transferred everything from the old building down here.
Right.
Okay. Move on. Page 35. Fire protection, that's the pass-through. We discussed a little bit earlier if we want to keep the same percentages or not. Ambulance services, we provide them a place to work out of. They give us free service. It's actually really good. Yeah.
It was much needed.
Animal control. Okay. Zoning. We discussed the majority of this earlier because of the comprehensive plan being in there. So does anyone have any more questions on those line items? All right. Page 37, emergency management, public safety. Any questions?
What's the grant management under public safety? For public safety, you have grant management.
We have to allocate of the GSL quarterly, one of their bills has to go to this account because it gets reimbursed by the Safer Grant, yeah.
So it's the grant writer.
Correct, they have to call it grant management though, and because this has the ability to be reviewed.
Is the incentive the money that we pay to firefighters, or is that the money that they save on taxes? What is the incentive for $50,000? Under public safety?
That's the maximum amount that we have for the grant in order to be able to pay the volunteer fire departments for their service credits. They get so much they get paid quarterly for, training. It could be any type of, they could go to a class. It's not necessarily training per se, but it is, Steve wants to talk.
That incentive is part of that FEMA, that Safer Grant.
Safer Grant.
So the Safer Grant reimburses us X amount of dollars based upon the amount of fire calls that the individuals run, the training that they go to, and all that criteria. So whatever that amount is, we supply that to Jane per quarter, and she pays it. If it comes out of this category, I guess it does. I have no idea.
It has to be called incentive. Yeah, it's called incentives per
What
the
was the
grant. Per the grant. 77,777.
Yeah, which one? What is that? Is that payment or is that that was money?
That's
coming
the
in?
money coming in from the
Okay,
grant.
I
The
got you.
maximum amount for the grant, and these are the maximum amount of expenses that can go for the grant.
So I'm a little confused. We give them this incentive, then we also give them a tax break, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that.
What does that come out of, line item?
That is now under here also, volunteer, it's under, service credit real estate tax,
Okay, so that's 7,000 for that, and then we do that grant there.
correct. And it's, like I said, that service volunteer fire department's service credit for real estate tax will increase if you include social members. Okay, social members are what they're all volunteers, but we're calling volunteers the person that is doing the bookkeeping, the person that is doing just the chicken barbecues and things like that. They're not first responders. So if you're going to include those, there is a lot of individuals
Well,
that will be able
that
to
would
take
include like your lady auxiliary.
Bingo people, all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Do all that.
Yeah.
Correct. So that was on Aaron's presentation. That line item will go up.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, well, we give them that tax credit, then we give them the incentive, and then.
We also give them an earned income tax credit. That's a reduction to your earned income tax
Okay.
that we get paid by each one of the municipalities, either whether it's York Adams Tax Bureau, if they live in Northeastern School District, if they volunteer one of the 3 fire departments and live in West Shore School District, then we get reduced by Cumberland County Tax Bureau. So we did that. It's Act 72, Act 172. It's either 72 or 172. I
Yeah,
can't think of the
something
name
like
of the
that,
act. That allowed that to.
Just to clarify,
adopt it.
the incentive, not everybody that, I don't want to say this. Not everybody, so let's say you're a volunteer fireman, Jane, and you have training that you are certified as a firefighter 1. And let's say Tony is certified as a firefighter 2. And let's say Brent is a junior firefighter. If all 3 of you go to the same amount of calls, you're not all 3 getting the same amount of money, okay? You, being a firefighter 1, have a max amount of money that you can get back for an incentive based upon your training. So does Tony, so does Brent. And then, now, if you would take a class and you would complete that class and earn the firefighter 2 status, now the amount of money that you can earn for your incentive has just increased because we're trying to incentivize not only that they're responding to calls, but that they're getting training to provide our firefighters the best possible service that we can for the township. So you would complete that class and based upon that on the grant would say, okay, you completed that class, now you're receiving, let's say it's $300 for that new certification to receive that, but now you can earn up to an additional $450 a year in incentives by going to the fire calls, by going to the special trainings. Does you kind of understand it now? It's very comprehensive.
So then my last question would be, with all of that, what all comes out of all that training and all the incentives? Does any of that come out of the grant money, or is that something that's strictly coming out of our budget?
That's coming out of the grant money. The incentive that I just explained to you is coming out of the grant money,
Yeah,
which
out
would
of-
be that 7777.
The public safety director gets paid out of there currently. Public safety director gets paid out of their current, any advertising gets paid out of there. We paid for,
When we set up the website.
Yep, website. Grant management gets paid out of there, that's listed there. The incentives get paid out of there. So anything that's listed on there is the max amount that the grant is allowing outside of the volunteer fire department service credits for real estate. That is not part of the grant, but it belongs to that section, if that's the right word. Belongs to the volunteer fire departments.
So, under that then, why would you not have whatever comes out of the grant? Like, we just have grant management for $5,350, but the stuff that comes out of it, like the incentive, that comes out of the grant. So shouldn't you, beside that, have it could be possibly the grant? So we understand it's coming out of the grant? Am I making things too complicated?
Wait, Jane, I'm just lost. Could you just say it again? Just say exactly what you said again.
The money that like the incentive that's coming out of the grant.
Correct.
Okay, so why would you not beside that have grant?
I could put the word grant
Yeah,
there for
grant.
housekeeping.
Anything else that's coming out, like the public safety director, you're saying that's coming out of the grant?
Currently, it's coming out of the grant. Yes, that's why I had to move down there.
Okay, So anything that comes out of the grant, if it could be grant beside it, that way you know, sorry.
Well, isn't that public safety, that whole section comes out of the grant?
Yeah, so the
That-
whole,
Except for real estate
Real
tax.
estate.
Right.
So it all does, except for the real estate tax.
it would help to track it. I would agree with some of that. Clarify it.
Or make it a different color, anything that isn't coming off of our balance sheet, a different color.
And it's a reimbursement grant, Jane, so you'll see everybody has to be paid first, and you get paid probably, because it's only paid twice a year. So when you're on a cash basis for the January incentives that we're gonna be paying out, we will not be reimbursed from them till last week of July or the beginning of August of that year. So it's that long of span till you get reimbursed.
All right, if you just did grant, it would make it easier.
Okay.
Suggestion. All right.
Okay, we're gonna move on to highway? Okay. Scott, do you have anything to add?
Nothing bad.
The only thing which, and it's not on here, I would personally like to make a suggestion that we add $5,000 to minor equipment. Watching them guys work and having to rent, borrow light towers.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if we found a used one, I spoke to Scott, township will benefit from it. Number one, they can use it for their road work. We can also use it for special events.
Yeah,
Things
I
that are
agree.
done at evenings. And if
I
the
agree.
police have to do an investigation at night, crime scene or what have you, then they have a light tower. So, I mean,
Yep.
Scott knows the price. I think we can get a pretty decent used one for 5,000 or less. So that would be one line item, which is not on here, that I would like to add another line items here, but I would like to add another 5,000 to it.
I like that idea.
Is his overtime coming is that the winter, is that because of overtime, or is it because of summer projects?
I would say, Scott, what, 80-90% comes to the winter with this plowing.
Plowing, and even though we have contracted services for that too.
Correct.
No,
Wait,
you contract services out of liquid fuels.
contract
That's not
services
your
out of
contracted
liquid
services in here.
Oh, so when we have, like, the gentleman up the street from me that does it, he's
Yeah.
under.
he goes,
liquid
he's paid
fuels.
out of liquid fuel.
Okay, so
Is-
then this in here is just for
Our
your
guys.
guys working overtime.
During the summer, they don't get much, except
If we're doing a project.
Big
a lot of
project
times
that-
We'll end up with a 10, 11-hour day, but just to button up and get safe.
Okay,
But for the most part, that's all, every snow event's almost 24 hours straight, so
True.
there's a bunch of overtime, every snow event.
Yeah.
How does salary or equipment operators go down? I mean, did somebody leave?
No,
You
what-
reduced,
Teamsters
you
got an
reduced,
increase.
you reduced the amount of seasonal people that we have.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
didn't
right.
use them. We had it at 25,000 last year. You said, I only used 3,000 of it. Let's just take the budget down and
Yeah.
we're gonna spend
The
it in liquid
seasonal-
fuels.
The seasonal people are reduced.
when you talk seasonal, we did talk about that prior, about summer seasonal, but,
That's not for mowing grass, that's to help in the winter plowing snow, and if I need an extra dump truck driver or something in the summer,
okay.
that's where that. My guys are in their 80s now and they're petering out.
page 39. And the highway. Page 40. Here's where we come back around to contributions, which we spoke about earlier. Like I said, we can bundle that all together to, let's see, 31, 32, 44,000 or whatever it adds up to as a single line item contributions, and the board can make the decision throughout the course of the year how they want to disperse that. Just a suggestion.
So then do they have to come to you and ask you? The organization has to come and say, hey, can I have some money allocated, or how?
They can come to us, the board can go to them.
Okay.
Then, the board would have a resolution and vote on it, how much they would want to allocate.
Do you think these organizations, when they're doing their budget for 2026, they already account for the money that they believe, since you've done a precedent, you've done it the last couple of years? I'm just asking.
I would think so.
Because I
Although
know
that-
the library come to me in July and asked about the money and said, hey, we have a major expense, we haven't received any money. And I'm like, I don't know why. You'll have to call the township to figure that out. But, so that was just my concern is, if you give it to them at the beginning of the year, then they know not to keep coming back versus,
And they've all been contacted.
pardon me?
They've all been contacted to let us know what they might need for this year. And we haven't heard from some, but we've heard from most. But we have reached out to let them know we need to know what their needs might be.
So I have no problem holding the money, I'm just wondering if they budget it, if they're going to be thinking they need it immediately.
I mean, I will say none of them come to us with specific dollar amount requesting, for this upcoming year.
Okay.
So how they figure out their budget, I'm not.
Well, there might have been one that did that, but yeah, that's it.
Building payments, go through that.
Where are we on?
42 right now. Any questions?
What page are you on, did you say?
42.
Okay.
Okay, 43. So this is where everything comes to an end. Currently, we're $131,331 in the positive for the year. This is also where Gene, I thought I had it written on this note. We had to change our ending balance, correct? From what was originally posted.
Correct, because the beginning balance
Correct.
did not account for proposed.
The proposed
Yeah.
transfers for this
Yeah.
year, correct. And you'll see a large difference between 25 and 26. 25 did include the $2 million RACP grant, but like I said, we spoke at the last meeting that we do not foresee any of that money coming this year, but hopefully the following year. All right, any questions? All right. Capital reserve. This is just discussion, nothing set in stone. We haven't developed it yet. Something I'm proposing to the board to create, just a different way of budgeting expenses for, this coming year and future years, and setting money aside for these larger purchases. Mainly it's for anything that's over 5 years of useful life, and large expenditures. So where is the money coming from to start this fund? So $477,847 is coming from the current capital reserve funds we have. They're departmental. Some have as little as, I believe it was 20,000. Scott had a couple $100,000 in for his highway. So if we were to combine them and move them just to a general capital reserve fund, that would be $477,000. Now, looking at what money we have left, I understand, I can say it's unassigned, general fund savings, net earnings. Ultimately, it's all going to roll to the general fund savings. That's going to come back out, however we classify it. So we had $600,000 set aside as unassigned which is hanging there. So next meeting, there's gonna be a resolution to assign 25,000 of it, and that was for the road survey, GIS that was approved in the beginning of the year to get done. So there's gonna be a resolution to reassign 25,000 of the unassigned to cover the cost of that GIS we had done to the road survey. So that's gonna leave 575,000 that's still sat there unassigned. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna transfer it as an unassigned and assign it to a capital reserve account. All right, it's that we can use an expenditure towards in the future. We're anticipating a positive about 1.1 million, Jane?
1 million.
Yeah, around 1 million net earnings for this year. So we budgeted, but we're not spending. So I said, well, let's take half of that and put that into the capital reserve account for future use for equipment. And then to even things out, then I figured we can do another transfer from the general fund reserve of 425,000. So that's totaling about just shy of 2 million to start a capital reserve fund. Sure.
So, first of all, I think it's a great idea to combine all these little capital reserve funds that don't have enough money to buy much of anything, excuse me, and into that 47847 makes sense. And I believe that if we actually do get the surplus, then that's typically how it's been done in the past, is that they decide to transfer some money into capital reserve funds before they broke it up in police and all this and that. But I mean, it makes more sense to have one. Excuse me. I can't make the math work. We were anticipating a loss of $335,000, and we're going to make $1 million. So must be something happened. But so I'm okay with that, you know. But this 425. You just said that was a transfer from general fund reserves, general fund savings transferred from general fund reserves. So, you know, the reserve thing's got me, I'm hung up on it. So are you just
Sorry, yeah, it's general fund savings, the reserve.
So, so you're just taking money out of savings and putting it in here?
Yeah, moving from basically one.
It has nothing to do with reserves?
Correct.
Okay, so I have a real hang up on the unassigned funds. So you rounded it to 600. It was $635,281 of unassigned tasks. Is that the same money you're talking about?
Correct.
How do you have leftover from an unassigned task? It wasn't budgeted. It was outside the budget. It was a line item by itself. Understand that it was anticipated expenditures, which should have been in the budget, but it wasn't. So it's a little contentious because it wasn't in the budget, but you put a line item outside, you didn't. Yeah, 635,000. So it was a lot of things that was said that what money was for, you know, after it was questioned. And you're saying there was $575,000 out of that left. Well, I mean, I remember looking at what Jamal threw up on the screen. Like, it was 100,000 for police. There was comprehensive plan. There was this and that. But I don't understand the concept of leftover unassigned funds, because this township runs on modified cash basis, right, Jane? That's what it's called, right?
It runs on the modified cash basis only because we are entitled to have an escrow account.
Yeah.
So it runs on a cash base. The township itself runs on a cash basis. Modified allows you to have escrow accounts is the modified part of it.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, right, correct. But that's what I'm
that's
trying
what
to.
we run on, right?
Yeah.
So my understanding from all these years is that means that when you budget something and at the end of December 31st, say this year, all right, what do you mean left over? I mean, your budget's ended, you didn't, so I don't understand the whole thing with this unassigned funds at all.
So
Maybe you can enlighten me.
the previous manager pulled and had 600 and
Yeah,
say whatever set aside as how did he word it?
Unassigned.
Unassigned. Okay.
okay, but there was no transfer of money from anywhere to an
In
unassigned
the books,
fund.
it's showing as unassigned. Correct, Jane?
There was a debit and a credit entry done between assigned and unassigned on the financial statement. Basically, it would be like down in the retained earnings section of a financial statement is where it would be. So it was an entry that was done. It was done by 12/31. Okay, and you're right. You're absolutely correct. There was no transfer of money put in a unassigned bank account. There was no transfer of money done that. The
Right.
money stayed in the savings account. That's all it did. That's all it did. So as you were using those funds, as you were using those unassigned tasks, you were to be crediting back, those line items is basically the long and short of it. So we have been in touch with Zelenkowski regarding this, and we just said, right now the plan is we're not going to be like using them. We only used it for the road task. We had a change of managers and things didn't, get done as way they thought it was going to get done. He said we could just reverse the entry that we did last year. Just reverse the entry, and we only have the $25,000 that was used for the road survey. So the money's still sitting there. It's still sitting in the bank account. There was never another bank account open. Jamal left. There was never another
Sure.
bank account open to put the money in.
So this leftover word of unassigned funds just seems like smoke and mirrors. I mean,
It's
I'm
to
just,
clean up the books, basically.
sounds like we cleaned them up. All right, sounds like we cleaned up the books.
Yeah, it hasn't been. Yeah, it has not been done yet. But the money was never put into another bank account. The step two should
Okay.
have been to put the money in a bank account, and basically then you could have transferred that money from that bank account to then the capital reserve account.
So like, again, to clarify, these other three, fine, you're taking money, if we have surplus, makes sense to put some in there, consolidate. I got a real heartburn on this unassigned fund, because it just, this was a contentious issue after the board passed that budget, and it came out like at the last minute, oh, here's the $635,000 of unassigned funds. Well, what is it? And how does that work? I mean, if you're going to expend funds, it should be in the budget that you're expending funds, right? It should be part of the budget. And I understand why it wouldn't have looked good, because that would have made it look like we were going to have almost $1 million deficit. So we kind of had to hide it by saying unassigned funds, but nobody's been able to explain it to me. So I got a heartache with the $575,000. If you want to just say you're going to take $1 million out of the general fund, then just take $1 million.
Yeah,
I think it's wrong, but
we can say that. I mean, but basically what I was trying to do is just say, hey, listen, it's unassigned now. I know people had issues with it, and I can completely understand. All right, but we're now moving it to be used as a purpose and going to eventually assign items to it. In other words, it was more just try to make the housekeeping look a little bit better. I understand you look at it one way, and then someone else can look at it another way.
So you should just say we're taking $1 million out of the general fund and putting it in here. Quit
Yeah,
using
or I could say we're going
quit
to,
using the smoke and mirrors terms.
or I can say we're going to take all of this year's excess revenue and put it in for the million.
Sure.
It doesn't,
So I have a couple questions on this. If
Sure. yeah.
But
So-
we just make sure we understand so we're all clear. I just want to make sure we're all clear here real quick, though, before, something else comes up. The $1 million that we're talking about here is 1.5 million will be coming out, not 1 million. Just, okay, I just want to make sure. The $575,000.
Sure, because you're saying the surplus would have been in general fund.
The surplus from last year, the surplus will be in the general fund money. The $425,000 is a savings, and the $575,000, we had an excess in 2024 that, in theory, never got transferred to any type of an account. It just stayed in general fund savings.
Which where it belongs.
Pardon me? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
if you don't spend the money that you budgeted and
stayed
you
in
took revenue in, it should stay in general
right.
fund.
It just stayed in general fund savings. That's what I'm trying to say. It did not get, your unassigned funds did not get put to a separate bank account, if that's the word.
Correct.
So-
It's just, because that's where it goes. the tax revenue, whatever, right? So, and I don't want to get too far ahead of you, but I just had some questions on this whole thing.
Good.
Like, so I'm going to just put it out there since I'm standing here. It's my personal opinion that starting just right off the top of the bat, you're going to take 5% of tax revenue. This makes sense if you, and that's the way it's always been done for capital reserve funds, is if we had money, if we had surplus money, that's when you should wait to put money into this account, as if you have a surplus. Instead, what you're proposing is to right off the top, just take 5%, $140,000 off of our tax revenue. Whether you, and you don't even know if we're going to make money or a surplus or be in debt at the end of the year. You're just going to take it and put it in here. So it's not available to pay bills, is what I'm just saying, right?
Which money are you talking about?
Your 5% you're taking from tax revenue. That's, and you say it's transfer from general fund, $140,000, but you had it in there on the old budget.
As we receive it, and every quarter, what have you, we can transfer.
Regardless of when you get it, because you get it like in June and whatever,
Yeah.
right? But you're skimming 5% off of our tax revenue. Regardless, you're saying I'm budgeting that. I'm going to take that money. Doesn't matter if we have a surplus or a deficit at the end of the year. I'm taking that money and putting it in here. That's what you're doing. So I say it just makes total sense to wait and see if you have a surplus, which you're doing, and use the surplus instead of taking, set aside, we're going to have her start putting 5% of all tax revenue as we get it, or whenever you want to do it, and put it into the capital reserve fund. Now, it's not available. It's not available to pay anything. You're putting it into the capital. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what we're saying, but we were budgeting in, and we're taking into account that 5% is not going to be available into this budget. That is automatically going to capital.
Okay,
I mean, that can be.
we just disagree.
Will the capital reserve fund earn a higher rate of interest than the money sitting in the general fund?
No, it's no different.
No.
No different?
No different. No, no different.
It's a good question. What, is it get more or less, or what? I mean,
They'll
because
both be Pliget accounts.
yeah, the Pliget general fund savings, where the money is going to come out of, is pretty high interest, correct?
Correct, and then this will be a Pliget fund also. That's what I'm saying. So there'll be no different. The money will sit in Pliget.
The 200,000 emergency reserve, where's that coming from?
That will be part of the 1.9 that's sitting in there, just earmarked for emergencies only. And example is someone takes out a light pole or what have you. I mean, at least this time we got the insurance check before the repair,
Yeah.
but we just don't know.
Yeah, on your budget, it shows like the 200 is emergency reserves is not part of that money, but if you say so, so that's another $200,000 on top of what we just talked about, right?
No.
You're gonna take that from general fund, or
No, that was part of the. Yeah, that is a line item, but.
yeah, the line items underneath total available funds, and then you got emergency reserves 200.
Attorney, the total revenue of $4,001,716 plus the beginning balance $1,977.
Okay.
Totals $5,979.
All right.
203. Aaron asked it to be broken down that we have 200,000 always kept there for reserve.
So, two questions left. One, on these grants, you have them listed on here as revenue. So is that the total amount of the grant, or, and I see you're right over here in this other page that you're going to take the matching funds out of here. So I'm kind of trying just to understand how this is working out, because you say the LSA grant for the radios, is the total grant $612,178?
Correct, with 100% reimbursement.
And I'm sorry, and then what's matching?
I said it was with 100%, it's supposed to be 100% reimbursement.
Okay,
That grant, 100%.
that particular one.
Yeah. All the LSAs are that way.
So none of them have matching, but
The RACP has matching, the
Yeah.
Dolan Park has matching.
The rec ones have a matching, correct?
Connectivity does not have matching. That's
Okay.
That's a fully funded project.
Okay. I just, it's my opinion, and that's all it is. That's why I'm up here in public comment. I think, what you're presenting is some people like it. I think that we've always been able to do this. So when I say do this, if we need a street sweeper and don't get a grant, we would put it in the budget right now, not over here in this little thing here, in this cash cow of capital reserve fund. We put it in the budget under his highway department and say, street, whatever it costs. And then there's a section in the budget that says transfers, and you transfer from the general fund or wherever you're getting it from, but it would come from the general fund. We have the money. We've got millions.
Well, I mean, I know he's been trying to get a street sweeper for years. And
We've been trying to get a grant for years, is what we've been trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no time did anybody say, let's go buy one.
And I never did. I'm just saying, if the board wants to say, buy the damn thing and stop waiting on a grant, then you should put it in the budget. You don't need to do this stuff. You have the money in the general fund to buy that sweeper, and you account for it to the public when you're doing the budget like we are right now, and you don't put it into a slush fund which ends up being basically discretionary spending, in my opinion. But you don't have to do it. You can buy the sweeper. They can decide right now. We'll put it right in the budget and buy the sweeper. In emergency funds, anytime there's an emergency, we can expend money without having emergency reserve funds because we have money in the bank. And we had it happen with a cave-in on a water line over here by Blue Sky. We went out and got LK or somebody to do the work, and we didn't have to have a vote in a meeting. It's an emergency situation. We can spend money in emergencies without bidding and without multi-approvals. We had to get it fixed. The road sunk.
So who approves the spending out of the capital reserve, the way you're anticipating setting it up? So it's not like you can just go in and spend $300,000 without coming to the board first and saying, hey, we need this.
Correct.
And, okay. So it's not something that you can just spend without board approval?
No.
Okay, great.
So it would be the same process.
The goal for this
be the same
was to
process.
keep all large purchases, expenditures, capital projects under one area. Something that I think is clear for the public to see, understand. They can also see in that one line item, if we don't get a grant, we're not going to get it. But these are things that we need to sort of keep on radar that may at some point we have to pay for if we don't get a grant.
So
The street sweeper is one of them. It's been
right.
years that we've been looking at it. It just keeps track of one area for big capital purchases.
The last thing, and I'll sit down because it's taking up a lot of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
To Sandra's point, if there's money in here, I see that you have expenditures. If no grant, we're not buying it. If no grant, we're not buying it. But what's to keep any board to come in here in June or July and say, well, there's money in the capital reserve fund here, the money you're putting in there, right? That you didn't get the grants, so you're not buying the cars or whatever. Hey, we have money in there, and we need this new truck. I'm not trying to pick on you. but put it in a line item on an agenda, motion second, pass it. Yep, spend it. Is that possible?
But wouldn't it be the same if it was sitting in the general fund as well? If they wanted to buy said truck, the board would still have to vote on that expenditure as well, am I correct?
Except
Out of the general fund, or?
it wasn't budgeted. Except it's not a budgeted expenditure. You're creating a fund of money that you can decide, the 5 members or 3 of the 5 can decide to spend that money at any point in time. It doesn't have to show up on this budget document. That's my point.
So what I thought your objection was having it in an account called the capital, reserve fund, instead of in the general fund. I thought that was your contention. You're saying that's not the contention.
No, we have the reserve funds already, the separate ones. I said, I think it's great putting it together.
You're
I think
just
it's great.
objecting to it.
I think it's great if you have a capital reserve fund, with all of them combined, it's great. If you have a surplus in your budget at the end of the year, that you transfer some money out of, the board determines how much, put it in the capital reserve. So I'm just thinking, we're putting a lot of money in this fund, and it is discretionary.
Well, I mean, I know that the time I was here, we haven't added anything to the individual capital reserves, the departmental ones. And I know we've had extra surplus every year that goes in the general fund savings. So that's why I was trying to get it. And my personal thing is,
Yeah.
if these guys know at the end of the year, if they are not going to spend it, and hopefully we can move some more into the capital reserve, that's going to be a future purchase for them.
Sure.
They're going to try to save it. But I haven't seen anything that's been put into a capital reserve in a few years. The balances have stayed basically the same.
You're right, they haven't.
Yeah.
I thought though, the idea in this too was like a 5-year plan.
Correct.
And having, like, basically budgeting to spend that money out of it.
Like the comprehensive plan that
Yeah.
could float a few ideas that then we would have.
And you're right, Mr. Miller. It may look smoke and mirrors of how money's being unassigned.
I just call it a
things
shell
like
game,
that.
that's all.
I'm
done.
But the money is ultimately coming from the general fund to fund this.
And either way, it needs board approval for expenditure. Correct?
No, I was.
Okay, my question is this. I might be putting the cart before the horse here. The capital reserve creation, okay? Then I go to page 49 and I get to capital reserve planned expenditures. Okay, so is that the 1,977,000? You got administration building here, you got police equipment, fire department radios, highway equipment, stormwater, and park and recreation. Is that coming out of this capital reserve creation eventually? That's the plan, or I'm a joke?
Those were everything basically we applied for a grant.
That's the grants outstanding right now.
There's grants that are
Okay.
outstanding sitting right now.
But if we apply for a grant, we know that we have to have that money. Is that coming out of this capital reserve creation? Is that what you're going to tell them? Like,
Correct.
we have
So
the money in
if-
this.
Hypothetically, let's say we got awarded the RAC P, the largest one.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 50% match, all right? That RAC P is not given, it's a reimbursement. So we have to have money set aside in a fund to cover that $1.5 million, all right? Once that is paid, then we send a reimbursement into the Office of Budget, and then we'll get that $750,000 back, because it was a 50% match to cover that. So that's why we sort of have to have money sitting, to cover these grants, because a lot of these are reimbursements. They aren't just, hey, we're going to give you the money first, go get it.
Okay.
Typically, it's we got to have the expenditure, we got to pay for it, and then we get reimbursed that money.
Okay.
Like Dolan Park, I mean, we couldn't spend any money because we needed that if we got the grant.
Correct.
And there was things that needed fixed and we couldn't spend it.
All right. So I'm gonna go to something else. The administrative building. You have $1,500. I know a couple years ago it was like $600,000 or something. They wanted a new roof and they wanted all that. So if it was that bad, why isn't that expenditure already put into our budget? And why are we just waiting for a grant for that? You following me? Like I'm a little lost in this, that we just keep kicking that can down, and we haven't renovated, we haven't done anything because we haven't had any money. So does it really need done? Should it be budgeted somewhat? Like this year do a roof, next year do that. I'm kind of confused when we get this big breakdown of everything that it's like a giant wish list is what it basically is. Okay.
So previously in the budget, it may have been a little over here, a little over there, these grants, all right? This is moving it all to one location where obviously you can clearly see all the grants we
Oh,
have.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Where prior, you may see it here and there.
Okay.
As far as the building, we're getting by with what we have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's other priorities, I believe, in the township that we're budgeting for and trying to take care of. But ultimately, if we can get half of the building upgrade paid, or conversion paid for up the admin building and a new roof on the highway department, we're gonna take advantage of that.
Okay.
Well, possible. But even then, if we are awarded that, it's still gonna be up to the board to decide if they wanna move forward with the project.
Okay. All right.
All right, does that
All right.
answer your question?
You did. I'm trying to just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, between the back and forth, that pretty much went through everything. Does anyone have any more follow-up questions?
I know, me too. I just was gonna say the same thing. No new taxes.
Well, regardless, we weren't gonna have new taxes.
From last year, so we should.
Yeah.
New taxes.
Any other questions with regard to the budget? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
There's no one here to make.
There's no one
Oh,
here
oh,
to second.
I guess we just leave.
I-
Wish everyone a safe and happy drive home.
We just leave, yep. Safe drive home. And there's northern stars out, or northern skies out tonight.